Mafa writes, "More Rado watches, please." Designer notes, subject 51. These two objects in my hand have one thing in common. Can you guess what it is? If you're telling me that this cactus is worth $11,000, I wish you were right, but you'd be wrong. Both of these things are partly made of ceramics. This pot, this bezel, and crystal are all made of ceramic materials. It's notable enough that baked materials could actually adorn a device that's exposed to the rigors of manual labor. But it's another thing to have one that's almost made entirely of it. Enter the Rado Ceramic True Square. Rado is known today for their use and expertise on ceramic. In 1990, the brand introduced the Ceramica line, which ushered in the era of all ceramic case and bracelet watches for the company. In the subsequent years, Rado continued to dabble into materials for their pieces, from a special blend of titanium to high-tech plasma ceramics. The Diamaster, for example, is a showcase of Rado's ability to manufacture these materials. You may be fooled to think that its case is made of precious metal or steel, but you're in fact looking at the material Rado calls ceramus. They have excelled in this field of watchmaking that no other brand can rival them. Like, comment, and subscribe for content you'd like to see next. Follow us on Instagram at Design Atelier Aruba for behind-the-scenes content. Submit your pics and videos to designatelierviewer@gmail.com. The latest True Square line of watches is utilizing the industry-first ceramic-injected monoblock case. These come in two sizes. The automatics come in 38mm size and the 29mm for quartz or ladies models. The thickness for these automatic versions are 9.6mm. The skeletonized units are a tad thicker at 9.7mm to accommodate the layering on the design of the dial. The quartz models are only 8.1mm, a clear advantage of having a thin quartz movement. A monoblock or single block case is by design stronger and more rigid. With less moving or joint parts, the less likely of structural failure because there are less connection points. These cases are rated at just 50 meters of water resistance. While we have something new with the case construction and material, we still have the square proportions from Rado, but now interpreted in the true principles of the company, a return to roots, so to speak. Likely its namesake, it's an equal dimension square on all sides that has a subtle curve in the corners and sides. We call these lines soft lines. Softer lines generally project a more composed and elegant spirit. If you made this straight like a Bell & Ross BR range of watches, it would be a bit more industrial or utilitarian in feel. After all, straight lines means orders and sternness. Another pleasing line to the eye is the way the bezel blends over to the lugs and flows down to the bracelet's center links. In this model line, there's a black, white, and plasma colorway. The automatic versions offer a sapphire crystal because, of course, why not? If Rado is offering a ceramic case and bracelet, it's a given that the display crystal needs to be sapphire as well. Sapphire crystals, by the way, are a type of ceramic. True squares normally would come with a solid case back. If you want to appreciate the full beauty of the decorated movement, you'll need to buy the skeletonized or open heart version of the True Square. This open heart version has a very pleasing beveling around the frames, and the movement is decorated both at the front and back sides. Rado normally would have the logo at the 12 o'clock position, but for the open heart model, this branding is moved to the 3 o'clock position. It's also nice to see that the weighted Rado anchor is also present at this new branding position. The dial can vary from version to version, and the standard True Square comes in the sunray finish. There is a deep black dial that completely feels different from the sunray dials. Most of these dials also sport a date complication at the 3 o'clock position. The indices are either batons or diamond markers. The hands are finished fine with a touch of white superluminova. For the automatic versions, there is an automatic print in the 6 o'clock position where it's completely blank for the other quartz models. Also absent on the quartz model dials is the Rado anchor, which of course is a reference to the rotor of the automatic movements in them. The dial as a whole is rather clean and simplistic. For the baton index dials, there are minute markers at the rim of the dial that is non-intrusive to the profile of the dial. Since it's so thin and short, it almost becomes part of the bezel. On the open heart version, there's a second scale added to make the dial even busier. Surely this is designed to make the dial as cluttered as possible, since there's no reason to use these open heart watches to time precisely something, nor is it a chronograph. It is rather pleasant to see the many different finishes on the dial. The anglage, the perlages, and the Côte de Genève stripes that you can see through this dial is just exquisite. For the diamond version, these markers is non-existent. The focus is now directed to the little diamonds that embellish this dial. The automatic movement used by Rado is the caliber C07, also known as the Powermatic movement that Swatch uses for many of its group brands such as Tissot, Hamilton, and Certina, to name a few. The big feature here is the 80-hour power reserve that more than doubles the base ETA 2824-2's power reserve at just 38 hours. This is achieved through numerous improvements in parts and from lowering the frequency from 28,000 beats per hour down to 21,000. The C07 also has a hacking feature on top of a simple date complication. This 25 jewel movement is also anti-magnetic. The main selling point of these watches is the materials used for the case and bracelet. The black models are made of high-tech ceramic. This special way of baking ceramics enables Rado to achieve a high gloss or matte finish in various colors. It's extremely scratch resistant and lightweight. It also absorbs heat quite well and conducts lower temperatures, so it doesn't feel too hot nor too cold to the user. Being a non-metal material, ceramics also offers hypoallergenic properties and resistance to corrosion. The plasma high-tech ceramic versions of the True Square offers a far more metallic sheen through the aid of extremely high temperatures. At over 20,000 Celsius, the gases used to forge these ceramics results in an otherworldly shine that seems to emanate from within the material. This also means that the shine does not fade through time. All of this is happening on the surface of the material, while maintaining the ceramic properties of the case underneath. There are some special collaboration pieces, such as the undigital theme True Square Yoi from a renowned Japanese duo that's specialized in interior decoration and product design. There's also this collaboration with Forma Fantasma that features an eccentric dial that has only a small portion of the hands visible through a cutout covering the whole watch face. And then there's the True Square Tei Chawan collaboration with the British designer that evokes the retro-futuristic aesthetics through fine lines and striking colors. Prices begin at $1,450 for the plain black ladies True Square versions, going up to over $2,900 for the open heart models. Rado is now becoming more known in the West, with the Captain Cook putting it on the radar of watch enthusiasts. And now the ceramic models are also slowly becoming popular. The prices are attractive, and it stretches itself out to the general fashion crowd. There is something to appreciate for the watch connoisseur through Rado's use of advanced material production and decent design language. Elsewhere, however, especially in Asia, Rado is already a household name. I know so because I'm born there, and I can honestly say that my familiarity with this brand predates my watch hobby journey. Not that it's enough to convince you that Rado is to be respected at a watchmaking standpoint, but if we hold high brands such as Seiko, Rolex, and in some respects even Hublot because of their ability to manufacture on their own, doesn't Rado deserve at least the same metric scrutiny? The perception about ceramics has changed. Just a few decades ago, ceramics are associated with things that we eat from, but now they are more known for high-tech parts and appendage decoration. I think we're seeing a change as well on how Rado seems to be viewed, not just as a fashion brand, but actually a true, respectable watchmaker.
Un dia buttare buonoci. Star Sniper writes, I like these better than the Street Fighter watches. He's talking about the Naruto Seiko releases. I'm generally in between the two, between Naruto and Street Fighter. Personally, some of the designs in the Street Fighter watches are really good. They're really great and they can be easily worn on any occasion without being too hammy or too referential to the beloved game. But like in the example of Blanca's watch, it's not really something that's appealing to me. This same thing is happening also in the Naruto line. A majority of the watches in the Naruto line is really good. The color combinations are solid. The references are very subtle, and yet if you know about the anime, it's something that really hits your nostalgia and you would really be inclined to buy it. But sadly, Boruto's watch is really not that appealing to me. Maybe it's because the anime is a little younger, so to speak, and I have no experience with this new anime line, but nevertheless, even the design of the watch is kind of monotonous and uninteresting. And here's the thing, both in the Street Fighter and in the Naruto line of Seiko 5s, why didn't they choose the other more popular characters instead of these characters that are not so really appealing, like in Naruto's case, like Kakashi. Kakashi's always been a fan favorite. Why didn't they include that? And in the Street Fighter line, I would really love to have an Bison version, and I'm really leaning into making like a concept sketch or a concept image of that, what the M Bison watch would look like if it was included in the Street Fighter line. So maybe that's something that's in the works. Let's hope. Celine Driver writes, not a brand name I would associate with sports watch. He's talking about the H. Moser Streamliner, but you have convinced me to broaden my view. Excellent video. Thank you again, Celine Driver, regular in our channel, and of course he has his own channel also. Subscribe to his channel. He has some great insight about Zelos watches and other brands in watch collecting. And yes, to many people and viewers of our channel, H. Moser and Chi is either unknown or known as a dressy watch brand before the Streamliner chronograph was released. But that case design, that bracelet, that flowing profile really hit the mark and really immediately, or not immediately, it really quickly established itself as one of the best sports watches, not only of this year. I was like always talking about like for this year, but now it's starting to be compared to other sports watches in previous years, and it really is something that's both beautiful and iconic in design. It's not revolutionizing anything, but with all of the refinements that it has, it's something that we haven't seen in years. And I almost compared it to the AP Royal Oak and when it got released in 1970. But yeah, I may be like too presumptuous at that, but it is clear that the Streamliner is one of the best looking steel sports watches in the market today, and even GPHG gave it an award, and that counts for something. When like the most prestigious award about watchmaking gives your watch like an award for the best chronograph of the year, that counts for something. And just looking at the watch, it's really something that's to behold. And in many minds and in many watch circles, it really is not just one of the best from H. Moser, but the best in 2020. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Like, comment, and subscribe for content that you'd like to see next. If you want some behind the scenes content, just go to our Instagram account at Design Atelier Aruba. If you want us to feature you and your watches, just submit your images and links to your video at designatelierviewer@gmail.com. So until then, have a blessed one.